Machines. Mechas? Robots. In disguise. Wait, that's something else. Hello, welcome to another episode of TMNT Toy Throwback. Today we're gonna have a look at Bodacious bots. What that means, I'm gonna have specifically a look at turtles in mech suits or robot suits, not just armor or whatnot. No, I want the full bloody mechanical experience. So let's power up, suit up, and go! Not quite robots in disguise, but actually a lot more Power Rangers oriented. 1994 brought us the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cyber Samurai, which are turtles wearing big-ass robot armor. Don't even happen to be the first one, because yes, those are the 4 Cyber Samurai I got as a kid. I remember how this came out pretty much at the time when TMNT ended, because it was in its 8th season, and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers just happened to start. So to me that was kind of how two worlds were meeting. You have big, giant, Megazord-like TMNT figures, all coming with a removable mask and an action feature. The funny thing though, when researching for this review, I stumbled on a lot more interesting tidbits about this unique TMNT design. Because not only were the Cyber Samurai Turtles part of the TV show, they also had their own story arc in the Archie comic books. Another thing that drew me in at the time is how incredibly bulky these guys are, towering over your regular Playmates turtles. Design-wise, the word unique doesn't even begin to describe these guys. Not only do they all have their own separate design, but on top of that, all of them are chock full of detail and color variation. The only real constant is how they're all featuring their emblem on the chest, and obviously the bandana colors being represented in multiple parts in the armor. But looking at this, you wouldn't even think this is a turtle. The reason I've been focusing on Raph so much is also because look at the spikes at the side and the shoulder pads with more spikes. He looks more like a shredder, a cyber shredder. But wait, no. Shredder's special was last month. These are the turtles, even though you wouldn't really be sure about it. So finally here's Mikey with his majestic shoulder pads and an orange, gold, and dark blue affair. He also happens to be the only one where I still have the weapon. But being bulky, of course, comes at a price. And no, I'm not talking about the price of these figures, I'm talking about the articulation. As it all just boils down to swivels in the arm and ball packs in the legs, which still get an impressive amount, seeing how big these legs are. So in the end, the most impressive thing to me about the Cyber Samurai is that they're a lot more than just Power Rangers Megazord ripoffs. To think that all these years later I would figure out that there were comic books and TV shows dedicated to this design is quite impressive. But looking back, I can understand it, as the TV show and the toy line was coming to its end, that they want to make the most out of it. And hell, these days they just throw out repaints. Well, back in the day, they gave us all this detailed, chrome, shiny goodness, and delivered just a unique experience that I still cherish to this day. But even though these guys came out late in the TMNT line, our next entry even goes deeper. And then we get something that's a lot more reminiscent to the Power Loader from the Alien movies. It's a full mech suit for each turtle. It's the 1996 Mutaforce Turtles. Another late entry in the vintage Playmates line, the turtles became a lot more capable in building stuff. I mean, remember when you had the very first vehicles, it usually happened to be some sort of toilet or a garbage can, but these mechs are in a league of their own. You get to see highly detailed machinery, cables, tubes, armor, sci-fi weapons, and of course all of it is topped off with the turtle stamp of approval. In a previous episode I covered one of my favorites, which is the body accessory, which came with a lot of different TMNT figures. But in this case, they switched it around, and now the turtle is the body accessory. Because for all of the Mutaforce turtles, you can open and close the cockpit revealing a tiny turtle figure that pilots this cowabunga combat machine. Yeah! Unfortunately though, when I look at a mech, I want something huge. I want something monstrous and something that towers over the rest of my collection. But with these guys, we didn't strafe too far from the norm, as these Mutaforce turtles pretty much have the same size as your regular releases. What they lack in size though, they make up in originality, because I love the idea of basically giving the turtles a Hulkbuster armor. But regardless, you have a lot to play around with and customize your mech a little bit here and there, moving up and down, while still retaining that old Turtles toy feel. Can't forget about the emblems. But not only the emblems, the other thing that's a staple is the different colors for each turtle. Yup, they respected that also for the bots. As for the articulation, we actually got some interesting stuff this time around. The shoulder piece can go up and down and rotate all the way around. We got the same up and down movement for all the elbows and knee pads, including the shoulder pads and the gun accessory, as well as the holster for your weapon. Hands-on swivels, and the legs just have hinges. As previously mentioned, you can open the cockpit and take out your mini turtle for even more fun stuff. The mini turtles, however, did not offer any variety. They all are the same mode, just have different coloring. Also for the articulation, it's basically swivel time for every motion you get from this little guy. But still, it's cool. And whenever it's time to suit up again, you have a nice little clamp in there to put your turtle in position. You got these plastic handles for more control over the mech. Just put that in his hand, close the bars over here, and let's rock. Lots of playability, little hinges, little turtles with opening cockpits, and overall cool designs made these guys rad. Was it the perfect bot experience though? No. We're here for the Bodacious bots. And as I mentioned, there's a little bit of size missing to this. How about some, I don't know, robotic action features? Well, let's see what else we got. It's the TMNT Mech Wreckers! Now that's more like it. In the year 2005, in the second series of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they released the Mech Wreckers. Now to be completely fair, I've never even heard of these guys. When I looked up TMNT robots and mechs and whatnot for this episode in particular, these guys just happened to pop up, and my mind was blown. I was like, what the hell? You have a full-size Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle sitting in a giant BattleBot robot suit. Hell yeah, I need to get some of those. Sadly though, because these guys are kinda expensive and hard to get these days, I can only provide you with Donnie and Raph. But, you know what? The history of these battle suits is way too big for just these two figures. See, let me explain. The first time we saw giant bots like this was in 2005 for the Mech Wreckers. It was an idea though that Playmates would revisit many times over the years and apply it to different series. As previously stated, the ideas for giant robots started with the Mech Wreckers in 2005. Playmates would then revisit the idea in the 2007 movie line, now renamed the Shell Shifters. These bots were a lot more similar to each other, and of course we're now carrying around the 2007 movie Turtles. The one thing they did add though was some kind of weird transformation gimmick, where the entire Mech Wrecker could be flipped over and turned into more of a car position if you want. I was lucky enough to still find an old TV ad for the Shell Shifters, but that wouldn't be the last time that Playmates takes giant bots and puts turtles in it. Introducing the Mech Wreckers in the Classic Collection. Now these guys came out in 2013 as part of the 2012 line, and the Classic Collection Only these mech records were never actually released as it is. What they did was take the original bonds from 2003, now putting in their vintage Playmates figures. Only doing it for Raph and Leonardo though. No Mikey or Don were released in this line. Now with all of this out of the way, let me get back to the two mech records I actually own and I can show you as a result. The mech bodysuit is pretty darn huge and very nice and colorful. Also keeping it in tradition with each turtle having their initial on every bot. And they all come with a plethora of action features. The first can be found in the arms, which in Donatello's case, you can spin around and you can push it forward and then spin it around and not push it forward. Or have it do both at the same time, pushing forward and spinning around. Same goes for his grappling arm on the different side. And the two cannons in the back. Fire! That still works. Unfortunately, the final part for this guy doesn't work. You're supposed to put in batteries in the back so his legs move around. From what I can tell, because they're extremely stiff and there does seem to be a joint in there. But since I got this guy from China, yes, China, it looks legit though, but that feature doesn't work anymore. So it's a good thing we got Raph, who has a different type of mechanism, but it still works at least. As you can tell, he does not have moving legs, but instead has the rubber band, which pulls him forward, or even backward, which surprisingly after all these years, it works pretty nice, even though it's super loud, so I gotta be honest, I'm not the guy to play around with the figures too much, but yeah, this brings out my inner child. Now Raph comes with the exact same action features, just his arms are different. We have ninja size instead of bow staffs, but you can spin him around and you can move him out and try to spin him around and move him around at the same time. He does have 3 cannons on his shoulders and 1 on his back with a nice panel to flip everything up, actually except for the middle one. And then you can go into war and fire and destroy my background. Yeah, that background was not strong enough, and now this doesn't work. Okay. Oh, there we go. Right. No. We got one. Ding. But let's not forget about the final feature, and that's removing your turtle from the bot. Same with the Mutaforce turtles. You have panels that hold them in the legs, and holsters for the hands. And these guys are based on the combat gear from what I can remember. Those are not the original release turtles, but more the combat gear version with more articulation and brighter belts. Speaking of articulation, because the legs are basically an action feature, the only articulation you're really getting is a hinge in the elbow and a swivel for the shoulder, which does not go all the way around because it's blocked by this entire robot mold. As far as the turtle goes, the head is on a ball joint, hinge that rotates around in the shoulder, swivel in the elbow, swivel in the hand, stupid hand hinge, which I don't like, a hinge that you can rotate around in the leg, a simple hinge in the knee, another one for your foot, and a toe hinge. So basically, the mech wreckers, shell shifters, whatever you want to call them, deliver everything your TMNT and Mecha fan heart desire. Big size, cool design, and a turtle which you can take out and play with. Thus concluding my search for the most bodacious bots. And once again, we're gonna come full circle with robots, mechas, and bodacious bots. Well represented in the vintage line with them Cyber Samurais, just delivering on a more different, and if you ask me, a lot more radical look. They would revisit the idea with Mutaforce, while also somewhat reinventing it. And the rest, as they say, is TMNT history. So that's gonna do it for this month. Don't forget, if you enjoy TMNT Toy Throwback, hit it up with a like, subscribe to the channel so you can stay tuned for more figure reviews, gameplay stuff, and TMNT Toy Throwback.